This is Newcap News with Lloydminster Oct.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Lloydminster police are looking for a suspect who allegedly threatened a man at gunpoint last Thursday. RCMP say it happened just before 9 p.m. A man was walking along 23rd Street and 56th Avenue when he was approached by a man with a gun. Now, the suspect demanded the victim empty his pockets and then fled north on 56th Avenue on foot. Now, at the time, the suspect was wearing jeans and a black hoodie. He's described as being in his early 20s, 6'1", 175 pounds with a deep voice. Anyone with information is asked to call RCMP. Bonnyville RCMP say alcohol may have played a role in an early morning crash that left a 27-year-old Alberta man fighting for his life in hospital. The single vehicle crash happened around 5:30 a.m. on Highway 881 just north of Highway 630. Now, RCMP say the driver crossed the center line and drove into the ditch on the opposite side. The vehicle then hit an approach where it flew a few hundred feet before rolling. The driver was taken to hospital in St. Paul before being airlifted by Stars to Edmonton. Well, it's a problem that has been ongoing for the past little while, affecting a number of parents in the area. One of the regular bus routes to Maidstone School isn't running. And as Annika Notveit reports, many parents are unhappy about having to drive their kids an average about 30 kilometers twice a day.
If we didn't have the grandparents, I don't know how our kids would get to school.
Chantal Mudrick is a working mom, and getting time off to take her kids to school isn't easy.
This is a pain, and it's an inconvenience. Good?
And she's not alone. Roughly 10 families are in the same boat.
My wife is not at home right now, so I'm after taking the last couple days off work so I can bring them back and forth to school, and it's a big cost, and I think that we need to resolve it as soon as possible.
Kuzik says the school board should be proactive with substitute bus drivers so dads like him don't have to take time off work.
It's not only half an hour. I mean, once I take time off, then that's it. I'm off for the whole day, so I lose the whole day. So, I mean, they should have a decent amount of subs around to fill in these holes.
Sometimes we have drivers that, like anybody else, may have appointments or need to go on sick leave or anything else. And that was what happened in this case.
Hauk says getting a replacement right away isn't realistic.
It's happened before in different places in our division. Unfortunately, it's not easy having substitute bus drivers. We're continuously looking to increase the number of substitute bus drivers that we have. But like I said, it is difficult.
The council is supporting the school board in any way possible to try to get enough drivers in place to keep this situation from developing again. And
that's the best these parents can hope for. As for a short-term fix, a replacement driver is scheduled for Monday. Annika Notveit, Newcap News.
Well, for the first time in its history, Habitat for Humanity has partnered with an Aboriginal group to have a build site on First Nations land, and it's happening near Lloydminster. Now, the announcement comes on the newly appointed World Habitat Day, which Mayor Rob Saunders celebrated by signing a proclamation ensuring Lloydminster's contribution to affordable housing on Aboriginal land. Now, the planned project is a 10-unit elders complex that will help house seniors on the Flying Dust First Nation.
Rural houses will be retrofitted and renovated and then made available for young families within the communities who certainly don't have homes right now. We have a long waiting list of families that are looking for homes within our community.
It's really exciting. It is a first, and it is really exciting for Habitat Lloydminster to be a part of it, as well as Flying Dust First Nations.
The project doesn't have a start date for the build portion, but Flying Dust is already taking action.
We'll do the fundraising first, and then we'll start to work on the development and continue to build our relationship with Habitat for Humanity and move forward.
The $1.4 million price tag will be split between Habitat for Humanity and Flying Dust. Well, the Lloydminster Fire Department is encouraging Border City residents to take part in Fire Prevention Week. Now, this year's slogan is "Working Smoke Alarms Save Lives. Test yours every month." Fire Prevention Week runs October 5th to October 11th. Deputy Fire Chief Calvin Nicholas reminds everyone to make sure your smoke alarms are working properly.
Well, everybody seems to have the idea that they have a smoke alarm, that it's working. It may be there, they may walk by it, don't know it's there, but until you actually test it, you're not going to get the full effect out of the fire alarm.
According to Nicholas, most people do not test their fire alarms the proper way.
Pushing the button just tests the audible sound of the alarm, so you're physically going to have to create some kind of smoke. You can buy smoke in a can, you can light a candle and snuff a candle out. That's the perfect way to test them. Pushing the button just tests the sound of the alarm.
Now, Home Depot Assistant Manager has some good advice for customers.
Just making sure that your alarm is working every year while you're testing it, replacing your smoke detectors every 10 years and your carbon monoxide every 7 to 10 years.
The fire department is having an open house Thursday evening from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at Fire Station 2. Well, 3 Bonnyville High School students are finding out what it takes to become firefighters. Now, over the past 2 weekends, they have undergone some training, and as Fraser Snowden reports, they got to do a lot more than just ride in the fire truck.
Black smoke billows over the Bonnyville area as a car has been set on fire. But it's not a regular emergency call, as it's all part of the Junior Firefighter program.
It was a lot of fun. It was different than in the burn house, for sure.
Surprisingly, unraveling the hose is a lot harder than it looks. Even when you're just fighting fires, to feel the steam after you put water on it.
The Junior Firefighter program compresses 10 weeks of training into only 2 weekends.
Live fire is usually one of the more exciting things for them to do, so it's a good challenge for them. We get it nice and hot in the training center, and then they get to come out and extinguish flames.
Adding to the skills of how to successfully extinguish a fire, the teens also learned how to properly use extrication tools, where they had to free someone trapped in the vehicle. The instructor, Craig Wenzel, thinks there are some future firefighters in our midst.
They're doing quite well. All 3 of them are accepting the challenge that we've put on. We've made it substantially harder than we have in previous years, just to try and challenge the students more and more.
17-year-old Grant Cheyenne graduated the program last year. Now he practices weekly with the team and thinks he may have found his calling.
Being able to help somebody in need is reward enough for me. If I have the ability to help somebody, I will.
Maybe when I'm old enough, I could join as a volunteer or just anything like that, come to practices.
In Bonnyville, Fraser Snowden, Newcap News.